What is going on, guys? Ultimate Deadpool here, and if you can't tell by the title of this video, I just got through watching The Dark Knight Rises. Now, before anybody starts shooting me down, because I know there are several people who are very passionate about these three Dark Knight movies, or Christian Bale Batman movies, I will say I like all three of them, but this is my second time ever watching Batman The Dark Knight Rises. I watched it one time about 7, 8, 9 years ago, give or take, and I never watched it since because I don't know what it was. I don't know what it, I can't explain it. I never liked it. I never liked The Dark Knight Rises. I like the other two, especially The Dark Knight, but I never liked The Dark Knight Rises. And then I'm like, you know what? I should probably just go ahead and rewatch it. Maybe something's different. Maybe I'll like it better. I don't know. I didn't know. But I sat down. I watched the movie in its entirety. And I actually liked it. I liked it better than I did when I first watched it. I don't know what it was that made me not like it to begin with. So, it's one of those things that I cannot explain. Because when I first watched it, I just remember it was just a movie to me. Like, it was a Batman movie that I knew what they were trying to do, but to me it failed. Because for those of you who may not know, what they were trying to do was tell a Dark Knight Returns storyline where Batman's been retired for several years. He comes back and he does his Batman stuff, and by the end of the movie dies fighting Superman, and then lives secretly underground training a whole bunch of people to still protect Gotham City until probably the end of his life. That's kind of where they were going with this. But it just, to me, was not very well executed, and even today when I rewatched it, it still doesn't feel that well executed. For two reasons. One, Christopher Nolan's ultra-realism. I never cared for. To me, Batman is one of those people who should be grounded but also fantastical. Kind of like Robert Pattinson's version of Batman, where it's grounded but not so grounded that it wouldn't be weird if someone like Clayface or Mr. Freeze would show up. Type grounded. Like, it's grounded but not too grounded. So that's kind of where I think Batman should be. And then in Christopher Nolan's movies, it's like, no, this is how he would actually be if he was an actual person in real life. And that's where I think the biggest reason I never liked The Dark Knight Rises came from, is how weathered down Bruce Wayne was. There is no way in hell, after about, just say, give or take, 2 years of being Batman, your body would be that worn out that your shoulders, elbows, and knees have, like, no cartilage whatsoever. There's no way in hell your body would be that worn out within the span of 2 years. Because if that's the case, then all these Olympic people and soldiers and firefighters and police officers and everything else wouldn't be able to do the crap that they do. So, it's, I guess to help move the plot along, but it's 8 years between Dark Knight and Dark Knight Returns, or Dark Knight Rises, sorry. It's different, it's about 8 years between that time, and movie-wise. And I can see Batman being that weathered down if he was doing that all those 8 years. But not, oh no, he only did it for like maybe a year or so, and then retired for 8, came back for like 6 months, and then retired again. That doesn't make any sense. And now, but if he was like being Batman secretively for those 8 years, then okay, maybe I can see his body being weathered down, but not that extremely worn down. So, that's just me. I never Again, I don't know what it was. I don't know why. But I never found myself really caring that much about the third Nolan Batman movie. Bane, what I thought was so laughable with his voice that it's like, oh, you could just recreate anyone's voice by just putting your hand over your face. I'm sorry. I love Tom Hardy as an actor, but I don't know what the hell he thought he was doing with his Bane voice, but it was stupid. And then looking back at it today, it's like, okay, I get what you were doing. But why did you pick that voice? Why did you pick the most memeable thing ever? Because that's like the biggest thing I see. I saw several memes about Bane before I even watched that movie the first time. So that may not have helped my viewing experience when I first watched it. But even when I rewatched it this tonight, it's like, okay, I get what you're doing. I get what you're trying to do. But you don't come off threatening when you talk like this. No, you don't sound menacing when you do that. So, and then don't even get me started on Talia al Ghul. She was by far the worst villain of the entire Batman franchise just because of how her death was. The twist itself I thought was okay. That twist at the end. That made sense to a point. It's her death that just makes me laugh. It's like the whole head shaking thing and like the, literally living into your last breaths type crap. It's laughable, and I'm sure a lot of people agree with me on that. Talia al Ghul's death in the Batman The Dark Knight Rises was laughably stupid because of just that overacting, I guess it was. It was just like, my father's work is done. Dies immediately. That's so stupid. To me, that was just retarded. And even then, when I was just watching a few minutes ago, it's like, oh yeah, this did not help at all. This was not good at all. But I mean, the rest of the movie though was actually fun. It was, and especially when you consider all the political stuff that was going on around the same time that they actually kind of touch upon in The Dark Knight Rises. I like the fact that they were able to pull that off relatively well and whatnot. But this is definitely the Batman movie that has the most flaws in the Christopher Nolan's trilogy. Because, it's not as bad as I remember it. I still only watched it one time up until today. Today's only the second time I've ever watched that movie. And it's just one of those things that, like, it's one, I can't explain it. But yes, I did like it better than when I saw it the first time. But at the same time, it's still not, I'm not as excited for it, or I don't like it as much as other people do. Because I've seen several videos of people like, oh, the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy is by far the best version of Batman we ever got. There were 4 other Batman movies beforehand, and 3 of which are a cult classic. Minus Batman and Robin, but I give Batman and Robin credit because it's still somewhat rewatchable. I mean, come on, how many people out there who are Batman fans throw on Batman and Robin every now and then just to either laugh at it or to be enjoyed by it? Because it is slightly enjoyable, in my opinion. But, like, and I've seen 3C Films' review on this too. He is just like me. He likes the Christopher Nolan movies, but prefers the other stuff over the Christopher Nolan movies because they are good movies, but I just never found myself liking them as much as other people did, except for The Dark Knight. I do love The Dark Knight, and I think it's one of the best Batman movies ever made. Not the best, one of the best. But like Batman Begins, I like Batman Begins. It's not my favorite Batman movie, but I mean it's a good movie. Like if I'm if I'm doing something at my desk or whatever, and I want to have some background noise or whatever, I'll put on Batman Begins. You know, or if I'm bored, one night and I have nothing to do and I just want to kind of unwind and relax or whatever, I'll throw on Batman Begins because it's a rewatchable movie. But you know, I like that movie. I don't love that movie, but I like that movie. Even though my 6-year-old self would disagree with me now, because when I first saw that movie as a kid, I loved it and I had 3 Batman toys. I had one, it was like Batman had something in his butt and you could like control his arms or whatever, and torso with like some gun trigger thing. Some of you guys may know what it was. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was called. And then I also had like, obviously the tumbler, and I think I had a little mini Batman that had like the wing thing that went with the tumbler. And I also had Scarecrow. But that's about it. But it's one of those, again, I do like all 3 Christopher Nolan Batman movies. And here's how I rank them. Number 1, obviously The Dark Knight, duh. Number 2, obviously Batman Begins, because I do like that movie. And then number 3 is definitely The Dark Knight Rises, because it was trying to do something different, but because of the too grounded, realistic approach that Christopher Nolan took, it does suffer from that. You know, like with The Dark Knight, Two-Face and Joker are some of the best characters to get that authentic, this is what would happen type experience. You know, especially Two-Face. His design was like, that's how you would actually look like if you had burns that severe. Versus, you know, Tommy Lee Jones just had a purple face. But I still love Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face. I do like the other guy who played Two-Face more, but that's just me. And then like the Joker, I mean, come on. Heath Ledger's Joker is easily the best live-action Joker we've ever gotten so far. But, you know, those are the characters that like excel in the hyper-realism. But then you take characters like Ra's al Ghul, who are supposed to be 600 plus years old, and have, you know, a pit that they rejuvenate their health in. Not exactly a realistic approach in comic books, but in Christopher Nolan, oh no, we can have him hallucinate as a ghost and have, you know, Liam Neeson come back and reprise Ra's al Ghul just to trick the audience. I'm like, oh, that's how he's immortal. The idea of him can be immortal. No. Ra's al Ghul's immortal, and he survives in a Lazarus pit. That's how he stays young for 600 plus years. So, it sounds like I'm ranting on these movies, but I promise you, I do like all 3 of them. The third one, though, is my least favorite out of the 3, but I do still like all 3 of them, especially the first 2. I just don't like that trilogy as much as other people do. Because there's so many people who are like, oh, Christian Bale's the best Batman ever. Okay, that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But, sorry, my nose has been running all day. But in my opinion, Christian Bale, is a good Batman. But he's a better Bruce Wayne. To a point. Because anytime Christian Bale is not in that Batsuit, I find way more enjoyment out of than when he is in his Batsuit. And it's just, I can't explain it. I have no explanation for it. It's just how I feel about it. You know, I like Christian Bale as Batman because there are moments when he is in his Batsuit that he does feel like Batman. But when he's out of that Batsuit and is doing his Bruce Wayne side of stuff, I kind of like that a little bit more. Just a little bit more. So, you know, let's put it this way. If you want to put it into perspective. If you can take Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne persona and Robert Pattinson's Batman persona and fuse the 2 together, you have the perfect Batman. Just like if you were to take Heath Ledger's Joker and Robert Pattinson's Batman and put those two in a movie, you have the perfect Batman movie. Because several fans have agreed, and I've seen this before, where Heath Ledger and Robert Pattinson are by far the best versions of those characters that we've gotten on screen. I have seen that before on YouTube and a couple of other things, so fans do agree with me on that. So, again, that's just my opinion. I do like The Dark Knight Rises. It's not my favorite Batman movie because I do like all of the Batman movies. Even Batman and Robin, okay? I'm one of those people who likes Batman and Robin. Yes, I'll admit it is very flawed and very goofy, but it's fun to me. I like a stupid fun movie. And to me, that's just a stupid fun movie. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. If you guys like, obviously I'm sure several of you are going to be like, oh no, you're wrong. The Dark Knight Rises was like one of the best Batman movies ever. And it may have had its problems, but it was still perfect. Okay, fine. Roast me in the comments if you must. But it's just, to me, it's just an okay movie. It's okay. I like it. It's not my favorite movie. It's not my least favorite movie. It's just a movie. I like it. So, anyway, let me know what you guys think. And I will see you guys all next time on Ultimate Deadpool. Peace out. You guys are awesome. I'll catch you guys all later. Bye. I'm sorry I had to do that.